Shalom everyone, y'all here again for HebrewInIsrael.net. As you can see, I'm in a completely new setting, and this is still a work in progress. And unfortunately, this location has a lot of background noise, so if you hear any screaming, yelling, or something, it's coming out from the street. There isn't much you can do about that. So, the reason I'm making this video, and this video is actually very, very late, it should have been made quite a while back, is a problem that I noticed with some interpretations that people have given to the concept of Sukkot. Besides the argument over can a tent be a sukkah and so on, things that I've spoken about in other places, I have had to make the point that there was an interpretation presented the last Sukkot that was only really shown to me just before the last day of Sukkot, about the idea of a dwelling outside of your home, a temporary dwelling away from your home, and so on. Even though saying a temporary dwelling is correct to some degree, it's very important to point out that it's not the interpretation of what a sukkah is. Anyone who studies this material knows the term sukkah comes from the root tzchach, which basically relates to the roof, which is supposed to be made from plants. That's how it's built in this region and overall. I mean, there's really no doubt what a sukkah is. Regardless, again, of the discussion, do you incorporate the four species into the sukkah or not? These are minor details. The bigger issue that came up was the fact that there was actually a large group of people that went and stayed in hotels because of the fact that they said, well, it's a temporary dwelling. This, unfortunately, is a misinterpretation of the term. Even though the idea behind it is technically correct, the practice itself is incorrect because that is not what a sukkah is. The background of a sukkah is the idea of building a roof, and that's really where the word sukkah comes from the tzchach, which is the ceiling. And the way Sukkot, in overall, regardless of the commandment in the Torah, regardless of any interpretation we may give, the idea of a sukkah in the region of the land of Israel, even practiced by groups which are not Jewish, which are not Torah observant, is that you actually build mostly a roof out of plants, out of mostly, actually what I've seen mostly from, for example, Arabs and so on, is you build the roof from date palms. So it's a very, very simple thing. The meaning of the word is very, very straightforward. However, unfortunately, people base themselves on translations which went ahead and instead of translating the term as booth or tabernacle, that both translations are also problematic, and they noticed this as well, they preferred to go to the direction of arguing that it means a temporary dwelling, which is, again, not incorrect, but it is an incorrect translation. So unfortunately, this last Sukkot, there was a large number of people who went to stayed in hotels and said this is a temporary dwelling. So this is, again, a situation where someone's interpretation or someone's interpretation seeps into a translation. I'm not too sure exactly which translation they were using. One person said to me that it must have been the RSV, I think. I'm not really aware. I don't really know all the different names of these different translations, but someone, I think, said the RSV, or maybe I got that name a little bit wrong. And this is what they told me. They told me this is what the translation said. So this is very, very problematic. It's very, if you care about how to keep Torah, you should be very, very careful with these translations. Again, even if the translation is hitting on the core idea of what's being said, it still doesn't give you the leverage to start changing what the commandment really is. So this is just a very, very quick warning out there because, again, as we say, translations are problematic. They don't not always that problematic, but sometimes people prefer one translation over the other, and it can get really, really problematic sometimes. The fact that what it does is it sends you into places where even if the intent is good, it will give you an incorrect understanding of what things are. So this is really, really quick video. And again, I apologize for making a video for a very, very long time. It's been over a month. It's been a very, very busy moving into this really, really small space. As you can see, I've still got a lot of work to do here. There's some wall damage and everything. It's a very, very small space as well, but I had to move. And also, it's been a very, very busy month for my family. So again, I apologize for not putting anything out lately. I know this message is late, but at least maybe for next year, it'll help fix things. Kol tov.